guys, Marcus from Ripjaws. How are you today? Today we picked up a Beats by Dre build. That's what we're going to call it, the Beats by Dre. Either they put the stickers on here themselves or this particular pre-built actually has some kind of Beats by Dre audio in it. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. But basically we got the HP 1414 PC. It's got the FX6120 in it. It's a 6-core processor. It's got a HD 7450 in it. Has 10 gigs of DDR3. Very odd number, 10 gigs. Guess they want to throw that last 2 gigs into the slot. Got a DVD-ROM and all the fixings of a pre-built. Here's the inside. Disgustingly dirty. But it's been sitting in a closet. There's your 3 sticks of RAM. I did take out the hard drives. This was set in RAID mode, and only one hard drive was hooked up, so I was kind of confused. I always thought that RAID mode you had to have more than one hard drive or solid state drive or storage drive, because basically it's mirroring it depending on the RAID mode you use. So if you, in case, it's basically a data loss prevention thing. So it'll mirror your data. Anything you put on one drive, it's supposed to put on other drives, multiple drives, in case of power failure or data corruption. People use it for other things too, I assume, but that's the main point I believe I know about it. Of course, we got our nice pre-built HP power supply unit in there. There's that cute little HD 7450. Thinking it may run Fortnite though, huh? Maybe. But we're gonna go ahead and clean it up. Basically, a friend of mine found this in a closet, a friend's closet, and so they asked me if I could look at it and see if it even works, which it does. It does fire up. Elizabeth, you put a pin in, and we don't know that, so we're just gonna go ahead and wipe everything on these hard drives, and we're going to install a fresh copy of Windows 10 Pro. And I may try and put some RGB lights in. I'm not sure if it'll fit, but if it does, we're going to go ahead and throw some RGB in it. We're going to give it some tech cleaning, or like Yes Tech City would like to say, some tech loving. Brian, thank you for all your videos. Amazing, sir. It does have a card reader as well. I wanted to say that before it does have an SD card reader. People still use those, I guess. Cell phones. I'm sure people still use cameras, digital cameras and that, and they're able to go ahead and transfer that to the RAID mode. But we're going to go ahead. Oh, and best part about this, I just seen. This has a Wi-Fi card in it. Well, would you look at that? Cool, so we know that this is capable of having Wi-Fi. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get it cleaning. Let's see what we can do here. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get some cleaning done here. We'll grab some tools of the trade, LOL. Please be careful, make sure you touch metal or wear a static wristband if you're going to get inside your computer. Make sure the battery is discharged all the way, unless you like being electrocuted, or frying your components. So we're going to go ahead and start taking stuff out real quick. Pray we can put it all together. Just joking. See if we can't get the B-roll going. Alright, here you go. Better look at what we're doing inside of this PC. So basically, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take all the power cords out and get this power supply out, which they forgot us. Wow, they literally put one screw in this, I believe, to hold this together. If there's actually even anything holding it, that would be scary, wouldn't it? And there's nothing holding this. Check that out. Who needs stinking screws? We'll just allow HP to hold it. That was easy. That's sad. Okay, I'll go ahead and unplug all these Ooh, it has USB 2.0. Nice. Alright. You gotta be careful because the Wi-Fi cords are plugged in on this. And I definitely don't want to rip them out. So, I'm gonna go ahead and be awfully careful. Rebuilds are just no fun. They're just too much work. Oh, this is the cutest little SATA drive I've ever seen in my life. This little baby. Aww. I will give them that. They do have the latches, so at least it's SATA 2.0 or whatever you want to call it. SATA 2. Alright, this is the tricky part. Oh, never mind it already. Just when you take off these Wi-Fi probes, just please be careful you don't crimp them in any way. They're very small. They will snap in and snap out, but they're small. And if you make a mistake, you'll be hard driving, or you'll be Ethernet cording it, or buying a new Wi-Fi card, which they're not that expensive. Next thing I'm going to do is take off this back end. Now this may not even unscrew there. Love to use these odd screws. Good catch it though. Alright. Go ahead and take that back off. You want to get this graphics card off. And there it is. Look at that nice dusty old thing, huh? Yum, 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 yum. But it does have HDMI and it does have a DVI port. And according to the specs on the side of the computer, if it is the same graphics card, it should work for some low-level gaming. Alright, gonna go ahead and unplug the case fan. Alright, let's get this motherboard out of there. Yeah, I don't like that screwdriver for those screws particularly. Give me 1 second, I should already have a screwdriver that takes it. I leave every one of my videos, I walk out of the camera. Never prepared. I do this stuff on the fly, guys. Alright, go ahead and get these out. Normally I'd tell you have a storage for your screws and that, but again, not prepared, so I did not do that. But that's okay. You may not even see me talking on this, so I'm going to try and fast forward through all the boring stuff for you. Take your time. Go ahead and take all the screws out. I wish that was a bigger, I wish I had a 90mm RGB. I'd love to throw that in, but it's okay. This thing could actually use a new case. Get rid of this pre-built case. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get that out of there. We're almost finished. 20 more screws to go. And be careful not to stab anything in between the screws. You want to damage your motherboard, if possible. It's possible to ruin it. I mean, if possible, don't hit anything in between the screws is what I kind of meant. Alright, I think we got one more. It does have an internal speaker. That's cool. Allow you for post error messages. In case there are any. I did not get any when I first fired it up, which is good. This is the last screw. Okay. Go ahead and take this little micro ATX board out. There we go. Micro ATX board isn't that nasty. with the one cushion to ensure that the motherboard doesn't fry out, I guess. Or keep it off the ground. It does have one PCIe 16 slot, but it has 3 PCIe x 1 slots. And where's that little Wi-Fi card? Right there. So there it is. And that's where the little 2 probes go, so you got to be careful. And I actually have another one I took out of a computer, so on the off chance I break this one. It has 4 SATA plugs. It has a 24 pin ATX power and a 4 pin ATX power, so that tells you how old it is. Yeah, the components are really dusty, and I can see you got to be really careful taking this air cooler off, because this computer's probably never had fresh thermal paste, which is not good, so we want to be careful of that. We're going to put this case on real quick. See if we can put it up so you can see what we're going to be doing here. Actually, I'll leave it here with the B-roll going, and I'll bring it to you. So normally I use a motherboard box, but this is okay as well, as long as it's off the ground. You want to be very careful. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the thermal paste has never been changed on this. I want to be careful when I pull this out, because unlike Intel, where the pins are on the board itself, AMD puts the pins on the processor chip, which if you bend any of those little pins, you might as well forget using your processor chip. Though in the past I have been able to straighten out pins and fix them, but it's a hit or miss thing, so you definitely want to be careful. First thing I want to do is unscrew the tension screws that are holding this air cooler together. I kind of do it counterclockwise to alleviate any pressure on the opposite side. It seems to be moving pretty easy. We may luck out. Now, I don't know. The owner is not named Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I won't use the last name, but was the person who owned the PC, I assume. Or somebody who used it. So, thanks for letting us play with your computer, Elizabeth, even though you don't know. And shout out to Chris and Andrea for allowing us to use your computer to play with, clean up for you, get running. And I also gave them the option I would buy it, but unfortunately I told them I wouldn't be able to pay the same price as somebody else because I know what the parts are worth. And because I deal with computers, ooh, perfect. Now let's see if we can get into that dry to the bone. See, now what thermal paste does is basically it allows to keep your component cool. The little processor chip gets really, really hot, and so you definitely want to make sure that you have thermal paste on it. The right amount, not too much, not too little. Too little will not help you, too much will definitely ruin your components. Hand sanitizer for the alcohol. And we got a rag, and what else? What else shall we have here today? I do have wipes. These wipes are alcohol wipes though, Lysol wipes, so I'll probably use that for the case, but not to clean the motherboard. I'm just going to use the hand sanitizer to clean the motherboard. A rag for the motherboard, get a cleaner one, or find a clean spot. Let's go ahead and we'll get some hand sanitizer on here so we can clean off this old thermal paste. Hopefully. Yeah, it cleans right up. Shine her right up. And be careful because the one I'm using is kind of like, it dissolves, but it doesn't dissolve right away. So you want to make sure if you use something like I'm using, that you ensure that it's dry before you put all the components back and fire it up, or you know, it'll probably fry it out. So definitely be careful of that. Get all the thermal paste off. Ooh, I forgot to unplug that. Alright. With this, same thing. Go ahead and clean it. Get it off. But an added thing with the case fan here is or the processor fan, we're going to have to take it off and clean it. So I use smaller screws for that. I have my case here. This is not an iFixit. I have not bought an iFixit, though. If you're going to buy a multi-tool set to work on PCs, iFixit is the way to go. They offer everything. But I didn't know about iFixit a few years ago when I picked up my case. I basically bought a cell phone repair kit, which brings the same tools to the table as the iFixit kit. So what I'm going to do is there's little screws in here that hold this fan, and the radiator is hella dirty, so we're going to go ahead and clean it. Hella dirty. Now, cool thing about anything that doesn't involve electricity, like this. Did I not unscrew it all the way? I guess I didn't. Yeah, look at that. Yummy. I'm gonna run this right under the water because there's no metal, or there's no electricity components to it. Alright. Now I'm gonna come back to this motherboard and like clean it up and stuff after. It's the most sensitive out of all the products. Now I'm gonna give you a word of advice. If you do plan on taking this power supply apart to clean the fan, which I'm going to do, please be very careful. Electricity is not your friend when it wants to attack you. Unfortunately, I don't have any other power supplies to swap it out right now, so. Now, normally in newer ones, there'll be tension screws. They just pressed these back in the day, and I've never had luck getting them apart, so I'm going to clean it, but I'm going to clean it a little differently than others might clean it. So here's that fan, very nasty. Go ahead and grab the alcohol wipe. And try and be careful when you clean this stuff. I mean, you could use sprayed air. I don't normally use it. I like to get dirty with my hands. So I'll get right in there and clean it. But you can use sprayed air if you want. So what I'm basically doing is just go ahead and get each fan fin if you can. Not if you can, but get each fan fin. And I'm holding the fan, not too much pressure, but I don't want to bend it in any way, so try and keep it stable. Alright. Yes, I see that big chunk there. Don't worry. He's coming out with everything else. So try and go through and clean it. This probably isn't the most efficient way to clean a fan. I'm sure that there's people out there that have YouTube videos on how to clean your components a lot better than this. But this is the way I do it, and I haven't had an issue yet. So now remember, there's going to be dust everywhere. So just try and give it a quick clean down whenever you can, because this keeps your components from getting hotter than they should. From frying out. Dust is not your friend. Definitely cause a fire, and fires are not cool. They'll burn your house down, burn your computer up. I mean, And these days, computer components, the processor alone costs $329. So unless you got money to blow like that, you're like Kanye rich, or whatever they say, I would make sure that you keep it clean. Besides, I mean, you would keep your phone clean, right? Some of you at least. Well, think of the same thing. If you invest in something, and this is an older PC, but you know what? It's going to work for 2019. Why? Because we're going to give it some love. Clean it up. And we'll get to these hard drives in a minute. So, I'm going to go ahead and get back to this case really quick. So, as I said, you should normally keep all your screws in a container. So we're going to go ahead and get out our screw holder, our Yankee hat, which we got from Dairy Queen a long time ago with some ice cream or something, and it's come in handy ever since. Alright, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to take this apart, but again, please, if you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. I mean, if this is the only component you don't get to, you could buy a brand new power supply for 15 bucks every Wednesday on EVGA's site when they do the midweek madness sale. I mean, 15 bucks, you can't beat that. I know people that spend $15 on coffee. So there's screws on all four sides which hold the case together. So I'll go ahead and take those off. Seriously though, if you're not comfortable in any way, don't do this, because I don't want anybody dying after watching my video or anybody else's video, because not that you would die, but you would definitely seriously get injured. So ensure that it's discharged all the way. Who knows, you might watch me get electrocuted. Like, see, I told you. So go ahead and try and be easy when you pop that case off. Now this is attached in the back, the wiring, which they'll do a lot of times. I'll go ahead and cut that off for now so we can get to the case. But you don't have to. You could probably bend it and it would allow you to clean the case in like that. I'll show you how to get the case in off too. I could just use an X-Acto knife. Just looking for my scissors right now. I have so many different spots. Alright, so. Go ahead and use the house scissors real quick. It's a time component. Make sure you don't cut your wires. Go ahead and cut that zip tie off. Take it out. You can put the zip tie back in. Zip ties are like 100 for $3, so don't be afraid to go buy some zip ties. Your cable management will depend on it. So you go ahead and take that out. This is what the inside looks like. I am the spray can of air. But you will make sure that nothing's damaged too. Some of these transistors and things like that. I mean, there's nothing really you can do to fix them, but if there's any bulging or anything, you don't want to reuse it. You'll see the tops, they're all down, but if they're bulging, if you know how to replace it, and if you don't, replace the entire unit. So I'm going to tell you, besides, if you plan on putting anything newer as far as graphics cards and stuff, you're definitely going to need a better power supply anyway, because most of the, unless you don't have a dedicated graphics card, which I mean this one does, but it plugs right into the motherboard, which you could still buy those as well. Most high-end or mid-level graphics cards are going to need you to either have a 6 or an 8-pin GPU plug, PCIe power plug. So, which this battery does not come with, because they have to cut corners somewhere, which makes sense. I mean, business is business. Okay, so go ahead and remember, you want to hold onto the fan with a finger or two, because you want to push on it and break the corners by trying to unscrew it. So just kind of be a little gentle and take it out. Now I try and normally just clean the fan without unplugging it if possible, because there's just a bunch of wires and stuff in here and it's makeshift together to be compact. Every one of them's different, so that's up to you how you do it. You're gonna see me, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop it out gently like that, and I'm gonna work right from there because I'm scared. Not scared, but I just don't wanna have to get involved with something that's gonna take longer in the long run. Get it? Longer in the long run? Yeah. So again, take an alcohol wipe or baby wipe would be more efficient to use. These are Lysol wipes. They have the alcohol component. I don't even recommend using these, but this is what I have, and so this is what I'm using. I've used them before. I'm not worried about anything being damaged. I'm trying to be careful. You may not get everything out. Do your best to get everything out. I'm not going to spend that much time doing that, but I will clean it because it is going to keep our power supply unit cooler and dust free for the most part. And you know, air quality, fires, efficiency, or proficiency. I just kind of want to be careful getting it all cleaned up here. I'm going to have to wipe the hard drives before I put them in, so I may pull another drive to ensure it fires up. Basically, I'm going to wipe Elizabeth's hard drives. One she had plugged in, the other one I'm not sure what has on it, but it doesn't matter. It's not my business, nobody else's business. The owner of this computer, it's not their business. It's only Elizabeth and her family, so to keep the privacy alive, per se, I will go ahead and wipe both, and they can just start fresh. I think he said he plans on selling this, and if so, I may buy it. Throw it in a new case, and give it some RGB, and bring it back to 2019, because 6 cores is 6 cores. I looked at a Xeon. I wanted to get an older Xeon, and they're still pretty expensive. So people understand the price to performance, and 6 cores is better than 4. Alright, we'll go ahead and get that fan back in there, and I'm going to screw it back in. And it'll dry while we're working on other components. But if you're gonna, this was the only thing you cleaned, give it a few minutes to like dry completely with the alcohol. Because again, water and electricity don't mix. They do, but just not in the way you want them to. That's not even right here, is it? Apparently it is. That's weird. Very small. I don't think so, but no, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay, so I messed up. Right, take that out. Look, it didn't even catch the hole. Shiitake. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Alright. Note to self, know what screws need to go in there. I made a mistake. It happens. I mean, the fan screws are usually case fan, and battery fan screws are the same. Thick. Go ahead and screw this all back together, and then I'll and close it back up. And ensure that you put the fan back in the right way too, because you know fans blow one way. So I did not clean the grill, which was a fail on my part, but it wasn't that dusty anyway. So for the most part, try and clean it up. You know, don't get majorly involved in the battery, but definitely make sure it's clean. I cleaned the case already, so we're going to go ahead and pop this back on. Make sure you don't pinch any of the wires in there, kind of like I just did. Oh, it did fit in there pretty good. I don't want it on there though. Alright, there we go. Full circle. Now, these were the screws. Go on the case. There we go. You know, hold it in place, make sure it screws back in the right way. Got it. See that, so there you go. Half the talk you probably didn't even see. There's two on the back, but I only found one screw. I'm sure I have another one though, so. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Hence the point of keeping all your screws together. Or make a map of where they go. That always helps. These are basic things though that most techs could get away with just letting them splurge all over and know exactly which ones they're looking for. Alright, so we got that cleaned up. I'll clean the wires as well. Because you know, the wires are going to have dust on them if the other component had dust on it. Be careful cleaning up your SATA ports or any plugs. Don't bend any pins. So go ahead and give it a quick wipe down. It doesn't have to be perfect, or it does. It depends on your level of cleanliness, OCD, whatever. And depends on how comfortable you are with doing it, how fast you are. Speed does not make quality, so remember that. There is quality in speed, but if you go all fast and snap a wire, then your quality went out the window. You push this stuff back so we can get the case up here. Go ahead and take this back fan off. This is kind of dirty too. I don't know if you can see that. Bring it a little closer here for you. And don't do that. This last one will hold because I don't want the fan to fall. Not that it's a huge deal, but if you drop it, can make noise after. Yeah, anybody need some free dust? Give it a quick clean here. You can see it, I should show you. Gotta get used to that. Still new at the game here. Never claimed to be a professional. Or would never claim to be a professional. That sets you up for failure if you don't know what you're doing. No. I'll just say I'm a hobbyist. Not to be confused with a lobbyist. Go ahead and, you know, clean. Use clean alcohol pads too. So always help. Get those fins all nice and back to normal. Now there are some things you can do. Oh, this is a Foxconn fan. Interesting. Foxconn is a company that definitely outsources a lot of parts for pre-builts. But they're a good company. Can't complain. They're a different kind of company. So go ahead and clean everything up. Don't forget those cover arms here. Collect this as well. So try and get in between there if you can. Just be careful. Alright, clean to that side, and then, like, we want to definitely clean this case. Now, you want to be careful running your fingers through these cases, because there definitely are pieces of metal that are not solid. They could be levers, things like that, and they show no mercy, like Cobra Kai, and they will cut your fingers. And if it's rusty, tetanus is no fun. Alright. So go ahead and clean it. Let me get actually a fresh rag here. If I can't get it cleaned up as much as possible here. Now, you should take everything out. That would make for a longer video, but I'm just going to go ahead and clean the major components and the case itself. And I usually get 99.99%, so have no fear. In this case, isn't actually that dusty compared to the components. But it is dusty, so you want to get your CD-ROMs out. Sometimes it's easier than other times. Okay, and sometimes you have to take the front cover off, which we should do anyway to clean it. Go ahead and do that and slide your DVD-ROM drive out, clean that up. This also has a card reader, I'm pretty sure. Go ahead and clean that up as well. Got my TB test for work today. If not, no work. So on Thursday I'll have to go and get it checked out. Why did I tell you that? I don't know. That's the rest of my day, really. Picked up this PC and got a man too. Again, shots no fun. So think of that. That's probably why. Alright, this is attached. I'm just trying to get in there and clean her up. Be careful with PCB boards or motherboards or plastic circuit boards, because there's little bumps and stuff on there. Those are definitely, every piece of that PCB is important. So you want to be careful of rubbing anything on it. You don't want to get all manly or womanly about it and destroy it. Beasley. Say that. Beastly. Beasley. You too could be a professional can of air if you have as much hot air as I do. Alright, let's see. For the most part, this is definitely a lot cleaner than it was. but it wasn't that dirty compared to some of the other components. Grab more. And get these wires. Love these pre-built wires. Of course. Everything's zip tied, which I understand for cable management. But if you were to recable this in a different configuration, then maybe hide more of the wiring and stuff, because a lot of times when you get a pre-built, they don't, I mean, they do cable management, they do a good job, but they don't try and make things hidden. Custom cases are really nice because they allow for that feature. You can hide all your wires in the back, so you're not looking at a bunch of wires, and you can see the pretty components these days with RGB and all that. Clean the outside here real quick. Give it a little shine. Now again, G.SKILL, Brian from G.SKILL, he uses a product similar to WD-40, but I would not use WD-40 oil base. I'm pretty sure he said do not use. But man, he makes his components look brand new after he's finished. So go ahead and check out his videos. He's not promoting me in any way. He doesn't even know who I am. But I enjoy his videos, along with Linus Tech Tips. Definitely a go-to. I also like to watch HD Gaming, Scatterbolt, Oz Tech Talk, he's really good. Kristopher Yee, can't forget my main man. That guy is such a blessing. He is such a good person, inside and out. So many good deeds he does for people. And he's really cool. I wonder if it's that California air. I don't know. But they may, he'll definitely give you a better tutorial on how to do things like this. Especially Brian from G.SKILL. So go ahead, let that. So here we go. We got all the components put back together, and we're going to go ahead and give it a test shot. Now I happen to have an old front panel plug, and that's what I usually use instead of using a screwdriver to test the connection. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Makes life a little easier for me. You don't have to. The screwdriver's not going to do anything to your components, as long as you don't jam it in there or try and do anything crazy. So we'll go ahead and connect these parts together. 20 pin or 24 pin in the 24 pin plug, and then of course the 4 or 6 pin plug into the 4 or 6 pin. In this case it's a 4. Look for the SATA, usually goes 0, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go ahead and put it in the 0, which is the blue one on this one. And you don't absolutely actually even need to hook up a hard drive, but I want to test and make sure it works, so I'm just going to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay. I may have to bring my monitor over here, realizing that my DVI cord will not reach that far. So, again, we're going to do some more finagling of stuff, because a messy desk means you can't do anything without moving stuff consistently. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll bring that motherboard and this way more. And I'll get you right in here to check this out. Let's see. So, alright, so you kind of see it in the distance. Hopefully we can get this to work. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my keyboard and mouse. A wonderful donation from somebody that didn't need it anymore and was like, hey, can you use keyboard and mouse? And I was like, always. Always. Even the P2s. Always. Why? Because the time you don't need them, you have them, and then when you go to need them, you don't. Why? Because you didn't need them. So, alright, so we got kind of everything put together. Let's go ahead and see if I broke anything. Alright, so here's that button. Give it a little press. I didn't plug it in. That's funny. Alright, so go ahead and plug it in first, of course. And again, be careful, electricity, blah, blah, blah. Alright, green light means it's good. Now, if it fires up there, we're really good. Haha, success. It's scanning the drive.